this is Tamari, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing the Mercury Retrograde, messages for the sign of Taurus. Now just to let you know, I'll be using the Isis Oracle deck that was bought for me for Valentine's Day by my wonderful boyfriend Rob, so thank you so much, Rob. I absolutely adore these cards. I also have the Waite tarot deck that I've been using, also gifted to me by Rob, so thank you. And I'll be using these to pull the main messages and energies for you at this time throughout the duration of the period of Mercury being in retrograde. So, as you know, or may not know, when Mercury is in retrograde, it tends to bring all sorts of uncomfortable energies, right? Because things tend to become somewhat slow and stagnant. Any plans that were made for this period tend to go awry or held back in some way. They don't quite come together. It's not a good time, particularly for making any serious life changes, like big events in your life. It's also not a good time for moving, relocation. Anything that involves electronics tends to go down the pan. So yeah, just be mindful of that. Also, communication can be kind of strained at this time, so if you have something important to discuss, now is not really the best time to do it, because it can often end up leading to misunderstandings and heated discussions where there doesn't end, there's not a resolution at the end of it. So generally I tend to encourage people to hold off on those kinds of conversations at this time, unless it's really, really urgent to do so. Because a lot of the time the messages can get misconstrued. So yeah, the idea behind these readings is to help you really use this energy for your benefit, because it's a great time actually for doing introspective work and to address areas of your life where extra thought is needed, right? So that when you come out of this period, I kind of see it as an incubation period, right? Where you do the inner work, and then you come out of it, and then you can take action, right? Then you can take all that you've processed and understood and put it into practice in your reality, okay? So let's get stuck in then. So let's see what messages the goddess Isis has to relay for you at this time. Isis energy, very much at the forefront of these readings. Okay. Awesome. Alright, so first of all I'll tell you what the cards are, and then I'll give you the direct meanings from the booklet itself, as they are a very new oracle deck. I don't have, I'm not really familiar with what all the cards mean yet, so it's better if I just give you the overall summary. So first of all, you have Scales of Balance, Ancient Tantra of the Soul. Now this card has been quite prominent in several of the readings. So I think this really does feed back into the collective, and this is all about energy balancing between the divine masculine and feminine, right? So of course that's going to apply for everybody, particularly at this period where things can be a bit of a standstill, and there can be like, this kind of stalemate situation between the two aspects of self, right? So next you have Enter the Chamber of Healing, healing in the divine chamber of the Lady Isis. Awesome. Okay, so this is opening yourself up to receiving that divine healing. And lastly you got Cartouche, Divine Names of Power. So this is a very, very interesting card, because this talks about language, communication, just exactly what we were discussing now. So I will give you more background as to what these cards represent, so just bear with me while I find the page for you. So we'll look at Scales of Balance first of all. Alright, here we go. Sorry about the reflection, they're very, very shiny. So I'll do my best to try and keep the reflection off where I can. It's not very easy though. Alright, so Scales of Balance. You are a tantrika, an initiate on the path of divine healing of the masculine and feminine, the two sacred polarities that are universal to human experience. As these energies come into mutual respect and balance, you attain great power, presence, and healing effect in the world of the soul and in the human world of forms here on this earth. You are supported in further exploring this path now under the auspices and blessings of beloved Isis. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. It's about finding that inner light and this love energy, okay, that resides with all of us. It might sound a bit cheesy, but it's true. Okay, there is nothing more powerful when it comes to healing, especially self-healing, than self-love. Okay, so it's about mustering as much of that as you can from within in order to give back to yourself. All right, so very, very powerful. Okay, so now let's take a look at Enter the Chamber of Healing. So I'll just find that in the booklet also. Okay. So, a spiritual gift of healing is coming to you now. Be open without expectation or preconceived notions and allow the healing from the Lady Isis, Mistress of Magic, to help you find the best solution of any situation that does not appear to be as it should be. Take your time and create space into which her magic and energy can flow now. Expect your miracle. Okay, so this is really talking about opening a pathway to receive the blessings from the divine. Okay, so the more open you are, the more you open up your heart, the more you're willing to surrender the things you feel like you cannot change to the will of the universe, the more it can work its magic into your life. Okay, that's essentially what is being communicated. So while you're begrudgingly just trying to trudge on and take all that baggage with you, it's going to be very, very difficult. Every step is going to feel like there's a weight being, tied to your legs, essentially, right? So if you just drop that dead weight and just allow this doorway to open up inside of you, particularly in your heart center, then the divine can come in and really work its magic within you as well as your reality, okay? So it's really important that you don't close yourself off, essentially. Okay, now let's have a look at the cartouche card. 28. Oh, got that pretty fast. Alright. So Lady Isis initiates you now into her special mysteries, the use of sacred incantations. The words that you speak are rapidly gaining power. To benefit from this power rather than be undermined or held back by it, practice thoughtful speech and clear your heart of old unforgiveness, which can poison your words unintentionally. As your heart grows in purity, you will be able to speak with spiritual authority, and what you speak of will come into being more swiftly and obviously. Isis is initiating you as a master healer in her sacred tradition of divine names of power. Okay, so basically your words hold a lot of weight and a lot of power, particularly at this time. So as I was saying about communication can easily be misinterpreted, and especially at this time for you, Libra, because Libra, why did Libra come to my mind? Okay, maybe you could come into conflict with a Libra if you're not very careful with the wording that you choose, right, and how you express yourself using your words. Maybe that's why Libra came into mind. Maybe that's only beneficial for someone, one of you watching this. But either way, in general, just be very mindful of your words because they do hold weight and power, okay? Particularly as this card is confirming that. So only you speak words towards others that come from a place of love and understanding, okay? Because it will have a consequence, essentially, right? And it can be good or it can be like in a negative way, okay? So just be aware of that. So your power, that's a really powerful card to draw. That tells you that your words have influence on those around you, okay? You can lift someone up or you can bring people down. So that's why it's important to understand the responsibility you have in regards to how you communicate with others, particularly at this time, right? As you are getting this support coming in, right? And I think that's why the divine is trying to work in your heart center and open you up to receiving that healing so that you don't speak out of turn and use that power negatively, right? So just be aware of that. Okay, so now I'm going to pull some tarot cards in relation to these key messages. Okay, here we go. So, along with the scales of balance, you have here the King of Swords clarified by the Nine of Cups. So this is what I'm talking about. This is your energy. Sorry, this is not your energy. This is the energy, right? This is Libra's energy, actually. King of Swords. So this is what I'm talking about. You could be dealing with a Libra, because Libra keeps coming up. Even though you guys are Taurus, right? I keep saying Libra. Libra has been very prominent for some reason. That's the energy I keep picking up from this card, right? From all of these cards. And then this came up. So this kind of confirms it to me that some of you are going to be dealing with a very prominent Libra in your life, okay? I don't know who that is. That could be a family member, that can be a partner, that can be a friend, that could be a colleague, could be a neighbor, it could be absolutely anybody. Or they may just have Libra strongly in their chart, or they may embody this energy of the King of Swords, right? And so they're very much left-brained. They're very, logical and experienced, and, they've acquired a wealth of knowledge, right? Through their experiences, It's knowledge hard won, right? Because they've been through a lot, and maybe what you can say at this time and how you interact with them is very, very important, even in terms of your own, healing and development, in terms of really attuning yourself so that the divine masculine and feminine within yourself is balanced, okay? So it may be that your divine masculine, even, you could have Libra in your chart somewhere, some air energy in your chart quite prominently, particularly in your Mars, right, placement. But this could even be in relation to yourself, that you're coming from a very methodical and logical left-brained kind of perspective at this time. And you're doing that to protect yourself, because at the moment you feel like you've won, okay? You've accomplished emotional fulfillment. You're satisfied with what you've obtained, right? That makes you happy. And you're not willing to give that up so easily. You're willing to fight for it by all means necessary. Okay, so it might be that you have to just be aware of that energy, that it doesn't become somewhat possessive or kind of manipulative or controlling. So just be aware of that. With this as a combination, that could come across as kind of obsessive or controlling, so just be aware. And that's where I think if you really focus on balancing the divine feminine and masculine energies within yourself, and you do healing with that focus in mind, that's going to take care of this energy. So your divine masculine may be having a bit of a moment trying to keep what's his, essentially, right? So just be aware of that energy. Okay. So you also have, obviously, with the enter the chamber of healing here, which again goes hand in hand with what we just communicated, open your heart up to receive that divine assistance with that healing work, okay? Whether it's dealing with an imbalance with your divine masculine energy within yourself, or you dealing with someone with that energy and having to, be very mindful of how you communicate and interact with them at this time while they have to do the healing. So to clarify that card further, or to go with that card, you have the Two of Swords in reverse, clarified by the Five of Swords in the upright. So a lot of air energy, okay? So again, I'm feeling Libra very strongly, though obviously I don't see the Justice card here. Very, very prominent air energy. So you could be dealing with a Libra, a Gemini, or even an Aquarius, or it could even be more than one person that you're coming into contact with at this time, that's kind of making you realize what needs to take place here, what work needs doing within yourself in order to not fall victim to certain toxic behaviors of others, or things that need addressing within yourself, right? So you can apply either way, take it however it resonates if it does. So with this combination, it tells me that the decision is already, you know, in your mind's eye at least, you've already come to a decision, you've already decided on what it is that you want to do moving forward. And you know what is needed, you know, it's easier to continue the fight, you know, continue fighting for what you once believed than to basically lay down your sword and realize that actually things are not what they appeared initially, and that the fight that you were fighting may be a lost cause because it doesn't apply. The situation has changed, circumstances have changed, or that you were coming from the wrong place. You didn't have the right perspective. You were blindfolded, okay? You were blindsided. You didn't see, okay, what you needed to see. And now that you're being opened up and the divine is communicating directly to your heart space, you're understanding that you didn't have the right perspective. You weren't able to see clearly a certain circumstance. So there's no need to fight anymore. All you need to do now is forgive, whether it's yourself or someone else, right? Letting go of the burden, letting go of the baggage, right? The dead weight that's been tied to your legs for so long. Okay. And then to go here with the cartouche card, right? The overall energy here. You have the Emperor in reverse. Okay, now this is you coming through, Taurus, for sure. You've got you in reverse, clarified by the Sun, Leo energy, okay? So you may have a Leo that you're currently dealing with. You could have Leo in your chart, or this simply could be the energy that you're trying to resonate with, or you're trying to align with, or moving towards. It's different for each one of you, so it's going to apply differently. But essentially here, you know, we have this card represents generally Aries, but it can also be quite a prominent match for a Taurus as well, depending on your other placements, of course. But the Emperor essentially is talking here, with him being in reverse, is talking about knowing that, you know, the weight of your words carries, you know, real life consequences, as I was saying, right? Because you're currently feeling as though you're not standing within your power, you don't necessarily realize the ability that you have to affect your reality, to affect, you know, your interactions with others, as well as how you'll grow to see yourself even, okay? And because you're not aware of that, it can be very difficult to manifest these changes that you're trying to call in, right? This happiness. Because I feel like for some of you already, you're already starting to see glimpses of this, where you've been trying to manifest for some time now. And I feel like because you're not closing your heart off, because you are being opened up and you are communicating more than you have done emotionally, it's kind of tempting to go back into that King of Swords energy, which you may be in a little bit right this moment. But you're being encouraged not to do that, not allow your stubborn nature, okay? Because you got to admit it, Taurus. Generally, you guys can be a little bit stubborn, okay? So not allowing that aspect of your nature to prevent you from seeing all this joy that's coming in, right? To prevent you from aligning with that. Okay, so it's just being aware that, yeah, the things you do and say has an effect, right? And then there are consequences to those things. And it might sound like that's a negative thing, you're like, oh, like scare me off with doom and gloom. No, I'm saying it can have very positive consequences, right? So don't close yourself off, don't be afraid, and don't feel like you have to defend your happiness either, okay? Because you don't. You just got to enjoy it. You just got to be grateful, show gratitude for it, and share that joy with others, not retain it for yourself, okay? Because if you see here, again, this is a very prominent energy in your reading, okay? He's sat here with all these cups surrounding him, And it's just him, right? He's not sharing it with anyone. He's not extending it to anyone like the Six of Cups. The Nine of Cups, he's just keeping it all for himself, right? He's just trying to keep that happiness all for himself. He doesn't want anyone else to get close to it, right? So just be aware of that you're not coming from a space of this is for me and that's it, and I will defend this to the death because it's mine and it's hard won. And yes, it probably was hard won, whatever it was, whether it's a job, like a dream job, a passion, a relationship, a new apartment, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is. I don't doubt that this means everything to you. I can kind of get an impression of that. That's why the sun is here at the end, right? Because what you're keeping so tightly to your chest right now, I feel, and what you're trying to not allow your emotions to spill all over the place with, is this joy, whatever this thing is that gives you this absolute joy. You're willing to defend it to the death, pretty much. That's the kind of energy I get from this. So you just need to be aware of that. If that's not your energy, then this could be someone that you're dealing with. They may get maybe a bit possessive over you, maybe a bit clingy, can be a bit emotionally demanding of your time, so just be aware of that, however it, applies. Or it could be simply that, you're starting to see something come in and you're already kind of just seeing it as a battle already won, right? Might as well pack up and go home. We've already got this in the bag, but that might not necessarily be the case, right? So just make sure you keep things in perspective and that you don't operate from a place of ego, but from a place of love, okay? So, Taurus, I hope that helped. So do let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. And, if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I will be doing a shadow work reading for you guys very soon. I don't doubt that some of this stuff will kind of feed into that. So we'll take a look at that closer to the time. But for now, take care, and I wish you all the best throughout this Mercury retrograde period. Bye for now.